28.
28.
28 piccolos.
30.
30 clarinets.
31.
31.
31 trumpets.
22.
22.
22 mellophones.
11 baritones.
23.
23. 23 alto saxes. 12.
12 tenor saxes.
27.
27 drummers. 2 majorettes.
11 trombones.
4
4.
drum majors.
13. 13 tubas.
16.
16 color guard.
This
This.
is the pride of the ACC.
Hello once again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Pride of the ACC. My name is Adam Pohl, joined by the head of University Bands in Jeffrey Fuchs. And boy, Jeff, obviously here we are, episode 5. Great to have you with us again today. And I know it has been, the time of COVID is not usually a time known for travel. We're kind of hunkered down, but you've been traveling quite a bit this week, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, actually, the last couple of weeks. Last year we didn't get to have our end of the year banquet where we recognize our seniors and other award winners. And so with a little bit of the extra time I've had on my hands, I've taken to the road and have been delivering the senior gifts that we would have normally given out last year and some of the awards. So yeah, my travels have taken me. I started in Garner the first night and stopped there and then moved to North Raleigh and came back to Chapel Hill. And then another night I started in Charlotte and came back through Salisbury and Greensboro. I've been to Asheville with stops in Hickory and Winston-Salem along the way. And then I've got one trip left to go down. It's going to be a long one. I'm going to go to Wilmington and then cut up the coast to New Bern and come back through Greenville to get those. And then we've got about 15 that we have to mail to kids who are out of state. But gosh, it's been fun seeing those 2020 graduates who, many of them, the last time I saw them, we were on the floor at the ACC basketball tournament in Greensboro. And some of them before that was the Duke game was the last time I saw them. So it's been fun to see them again and hang out in the parking lot. But, we got to hang out nonetheless. It's been a little sketchy as I pull up in the white band van in the middle of a parking lot. People come to the back and leave with stuff, but, it's all right.
Jeff, it really is something because when you hear, let's say that you're at a party or just going over to somebody's house for dinner and they say, my goodness, you are the director of the Marching Tar Heels. And really what your mind goes to immediately is the music side of it, right? That's what you're trained in. That's your incredible specification, the specification of your background. But boy, when you are running the largest organization on the campus of the University of North Carolina, there's just so much that goes into it that is not the music, right?
Yes, indeed. And that's, the absence of that is what's been kind of challenging for me during all of this personally, because, I'm not planning meals. I'm not planning bus trips and hotel stays and writing scripts for games and all that. And, we're finding plenty to keep us busy because there's lots of other stuff that we don't normally have time to do that we are. But fortunately, I have really good help with David Michaud, who's our band administrator now, and have had great help for many years on that. And the other thing too is that El Fisaha started with me. She was with me 20 years from the time she started as a work study student until she moved up to the department manager for the music department. And even now, 2 years into it, I'm still finding things that Elle did that I didn't even know she did. The better she got, the dumber I got, I think. We're still finding all those things that Elle did, and David's doing a great job taking over. There is a lot of, just filing music, getting horns fixed, making sure that we can account for, 180 some odd instruments that we have, over 3,000 pieces of music, keeping up with our 4,200 living alumni. There's a lot that goes behind the scenes.
Well, let's catch up here with David Michaud, who is the man behind the scenes that helps make it happen.
So I guess everyone's journey to Carolina is different. I was a transfer student from Connecticut, so I came down my junior year. Had not done marching band for 2 years, but I was a member all 4 years in high school, so I really missed it, those 2 years that my community college did not offer it. And then I really wanted to get away from the snowy winters of Connecticut, so I came down to Carolina. I had a cousin who was in a grad program at the time, and I helped her move down the year before. Fell in love with the campus and decided to apply, and thankfully got in. So I came down here. And marching band was really crucial to my time at Carolina because, you come to school, or campus rather, 2 or so weeks before the rest of the school does. You're able to establish some friendships, create some networks. And that's, really crucial to a student who, I only had one other person from my high school at Carolina, and we really didn't have much of a friendship. So I really didn't know anyone when I came down here. So it was great to have not only my clarinet section, but I was able to mingle with some other sections just that first week of band camp and had those friendships first day of classes at Carolina. I didn't really want to be drum major here, but I knew I wanted to be one of the operational assistants under Elle's leadership. And they chose me after having 1 year of experience in the band. And thankfully I got to hold that role again my last semester. So it was always in the back of my mind as a student, like, wow, it'd be really cool to have Elle's job once I graduate. And then a few years passed by after I graduate, and Mr. Fuchs calls me out of the blue saying, hey, we're having some staff changes in the music department. Elle's moving up and we need someone to replace her. Would you be interested? And I mean, right away, I knew like I was definitely going to take that job. And it's been so eye-opening to have this position now. As a student, you don't see too much of what goes on behind the scenes. We all have an idea of what Mr. Fuchs is thinking, but we never really see how it's really done. So it was really cool that summer, the summer of 2019, to really see what goes into planning band camp before the students arrive on campus, all the way through the fall, planning for bowl trips, planning the spring semester, planning hopefully, to go to the tournament games. It's so cool to see what goes on behind the scenes, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. We had a plan early on in the summer, then one thing would change when you have to have a different plan. Once we had that plan sort of solidified, something else would change. We had to go to plan C, plan D, and this just kept on going. So by the time band camp came around, we really didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know if we were going to get through the week, so we just had a ton of backup plans. Thankfully, everything was able to go on as we sort of hoped once we had plan, I guess, Q in place at that point. But it was a great time. The week that we did have, it was, sad not to have the instrumentalist playing, but we did have the drumline playing. We heard the guard going on. It was awesome to have cadences played and learned by the end of band camp. I was, so excited to hop in that last night, joining in because, I'm so familiar with those dances as we all are. And I'll jump on any opportunity to get some exercise, do some cardio. Chapel Hill has, become such a special part of my life. I didn't really know where I would end up after my high school years. I knew I didn't want to be in Connecticut, but I didn't know where I wanted to be. So I'm glad to have found a home in Chapel Hill. And I really wouldn't know life in Chapel Hill without the band. I feel like it's such a prevalent organization within the community. They're always involved, whether it's volunteering around the community, whether it's playing at a pep band gig. And like you said, like a lot of the friendships that I've made just in the 2.5 years that I was in the marching band have, continued for the past 6 or so years. I mean, marching band and Chapel Hill in general have just been such a great community.
Well, great catching up with the man behind the music there, David Michaud. He does a little bit of it all for the Marching Tar Heels. We've now got Samantha DeColey with us. And Samantha, boy, I mean, the feedback that we have gotten here out of the gate on the Pride of the ACC has really been special.
Yeah, Adam, I totally agree with that. I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you guys so much for all your support so far for the show. It's been awesome to see all the views each week and all the super fun reactions and feedback on social media that we've seen about some of the stories that we've shared so far. So keep commenting and keep watching.
And there's many ways that we've been able to share the show, but one of which is via an email that's sent out to many of the former members of the Marching Tar Heels and current students on Monday mornings. And this week we're putting a little addition into that email, aren't we?
Yeah, so this is one way that you can support not only the show, but the organization that, produces the show and brings it to you guys every single week. So these weekly emails that we send out every Monday, which if you are not signed up for, you should go do that right now. You can do it on the UNC Bands website to sign up for the new listserv. But yeah, we'll be adding a new little box right at the bottom of these emails where you'll see where you can make a gift to UNC Bands.
And Jeff, obviously every year is important to support the organization, but unfortunately, this is such a unique year, and the ability of especially our alumni to help the band in a time like this, it's really imperative.
Yes, the alumni have been so generous over the years, and even this year, a couple of special projects we've called upon them help with, and they've been most generous. But yeah, it's we've lost a couple different funding sources, both with what our students have contributed and also some of their families. So certainly anything and everything is appreciated and will be put to good use to, help the program and help us sustain all the various programs and opportunities we have for the students.
Yeah, we've taken a look in this show at a lot of great alumni and a look back. We obviously also are trying to support the future generations of the Marching Tar Heels as well financially. But one of the great things about our show has been the celebration of the current Marching Tar Heels. And this week we're going to look into our Drumline. Jeff, one of the things that stands out to me, I made a major mistake when I was in the Marching Tar Heels one time when we were driving all the way down to Jacksonville, Florida for the Gator Bowl, and I ended up getting on the Drumline's bus. That couldn't have been a bigger mistake because drummers, you know what they do? They're always drumming. And there I was having the cadence played on the back of my seat for about 11 hours on the way down to the Gator Bowl. So you got to tell us, you got to be a unique character. There's such a close-knit section of the band. The Drumline always is, aren't they?
Yeah, they spend a lot of extra time together, just unloading the truck and reloading the truck, and that time spent waiting for that process to happen. They get a little extra time to get to know each other and spend time. Yeah, unfortunately, that's a characteristic the drummers never outgrow. It starts in beginning band and it stays all the way through community bands. I've worked with some, and it's like, give them sticks and they have to beat on it, something, to keep it rolling. But yeah, this group, they're still going. They're one of the few sections of the band that are still going, and it's always fun to check in with them on Tuesday and Thursday nights to see what they're doing. And it's a great group with a lot of different kinds of talents, with 3 different instruments within the Drumline itself. And they're doing a great job this fall, and I'm sure you'll enjoy getting to know them a little bit better.
Yeah, and I'll tell you about the Drumline. Even when you're just sitting down to have a meal, you don't see us, the trumpeters of the past, right? We don't get there and start playing our parts. But the drummers, you get them at a table. Everything is a drum, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, you go to weddings, and I remember several weddings I've been to with former drummers, and cadence will break out. Anytime more than 2 are together, it happens. They're a great group of young people.
So let's take a look here at this year's Drumline.
Hey, my name is Katie Bridgers, and I'm a senior double majoring in Human Development and Family Studies and Psychology with a minor in Neuroscience. I'm from Mechanicsville, Virginia, and I am proud to be one of the Drumline section captains this season.
Hey everybody, my name's Sam Miano. I'm a senior economics and political science major from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm super excited to be one of the section captains for the drumline of the 2020 Marching Tar Heels. We are pretty diverse this year. We have drummers from all over the place, Arizona, all the way up to New Jersey, Virginia, pretty much anywhere. So we're really big, we're really diverse, we have a lot of fun together. We're actually a huge line this year too, which is really exciting. We have 5 tenors, 10 snares, and 11 bass drums. We're really big and loud, booming. We make a lot of noise, and we're a lot of fun.
The drumline has many traditions here. One of our most famous ones is performing in the pit before game day. We get into the pit and we do cadences, and most of the band dances with us while we play. It's a good way to hype up the crowd and members of the band before we march down to Keenan. Another tradition Drumline has is having sectional get-togethers. We usually do about 3 to 4 a year, with at least one in the fall, a Christmas party, and a spring cookout. That brings us to my favorite tradition, which is playing the game Bag of Nouns, or some people call it Fishbowl.
Of course, we're still trying to keep up all of our old traditions that we've always had. We still do the drummies during the fall semester for everyone on the drum line, a little superlative award for each member. Of course, we play our wrap it up cadence at the end of every rehearsal. It also lets us scare the other sections a little bit while they're in their little post-practice group ups. It's actually been interesting. This year we have only been doing drum runs because the horn players haven't been able to play yet. We're super excited about this year. We are continuing to play virtually as much as we can together, and we're super excited. Hope you guys are. Thanks for watching.
Welcome back, everybody, here to the Pride of the ACC. It's time for our alumni showcase. And, earlier tonight in our program, Jeff, you talked about 4,200 living alumni members, but one of them is a little bit different than the rest, right? Because he wasn't a student when he was in the marching band. Incredibly, Dr. Joe, as they called him, Dr. Joe Lowman was in the band in some of your first years in the marching band in 1995 and 1996, including your first year as the lead director of the Marching Tar Heels. And boy, getting to talk to him this week, he is just a great personality and somebody that brings such great energy.
Yeah, Joe was in the band my first year at Carolina, and I'll never forget walking into that first band rehearsal and seeing all these 18 to 22-year-olds. And then back in the back of the room, one of these things was not like the other. And there was this 50-year-old man, I'm going to say 50, I think he was. And come to find out, he was a professor on campus that was had an itch to be in a big old marching band. So he had talked to Jim Heil, the director at the time, and they had agreed that he could do it. And the amazing thing with Joe is he did everything the band members were supposed to do. He did the Olympic sport pet band events. He did the basketball band. He went out to lunch with the section when they did that. He went on bowl trips and away games with us and brought his wife Betsy along. But you would have never known, other than to look at him, that he was any different than every other person in that band.
And I know, Jeff, that him playing in the band really sparked his love to play the tuba. He didn't have a tuba until a few years before he joined the band, and he ended up playing with that tuba well beyond that, including in the local village band in which you conducted him.
Yeah, Joe and I sustained our relationship quite a few years after he was in the Marching Tar Heels, as I became the conductor of the village band in Chapel Hill. Joe was in that group as well, and it was always amazing to me because here my life was as a musician and a band director, but Joe was playing in a German band one night of the week, and he was playing in a tuba quartet one night. He was playing in the village band one night. He was singing in a church choir one night. He was singing in a barbershop quartet one night. And it's like, who's the musician of this batch? And so, Yeah, and then he started buying multiple tubas. The B flat was
Right.
F, so he bought an F, and we even had him solo with us one 4th of July with the Village Band. He was our featured soloist, and gosh, just a great human being. He was a great colleague for me too, as I was about 15 years his junior and entering the college ranks while he was a seasoned professor there. I went to him many times for advice on how to deal with certain things, and we continue to stay. When I see him, it's always great to see him and catch up and stay in touch with him on Facebook.
Well, I'll tell you, you guys are going to enjoy it. You're going to love getting to meet Dr. Joe.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joe Lowman, and I was in the Tar Heel Marching Band 1995-96. I was a faculty member in psychology at UNC for 45 years. That's a long time. I was a graduate student before that for 4 years, and I started on the faculty in 1970, right after I finished my PhD, and I retired in 2015, and I've lived in Boone ever since. Every time I saw the Tar Heel Marching Band, I said, God, do I wish I had gotten to do that when I was in high school or college, anywhere. And so then it started hitting me. Once I started playing the tuba, I gave myself 3 months to see if I could play it again, just a matter of practicing. And I was talking to my barber, George Tomasic, and I said, I've been hitting this crazy fantasy. He said, what's that? I said, I would love to play with the Marching Tar Heels next year. Because, I'm now playing the tuba every day. He said, well, Mr. Heil is my customer. I'll mention it to him. I said, sure, why not? So I went home and told my wife what I'd done. She said, hey, go for it. Because she's the one that encouraged me to take up the tuba again anyhow. So Mr. Heil, Dr. Heil, I should call him, called me up and I said, I understand you're interested in talking to me about the marching band. And so at that point I couldn't back out. And I talked to him about it and told him about my dream of doing it. And he said, I think we could work something out. I had been promoted to full professor, which is the highest rank you can get to. After that, there's not much else they can take away from me or do. I'm sure I would not have done it before because it would have looked kind of funny. But actually, I think it was a positive thing. I never had anybody come and say, hey, you should be publishing more. You should be writing an article. What are you doing out there playing tuba? Because it was such a great statement about faculty caring about students. The friends I had in the band was the best part. Being with them, I thought they wouldn't like me horning in on their fun. No, just the opposite. I validated their fun and said it's so important that I'm willing to get out there and run laps and do it too. And it made it more meaningful to them, I think. The first home football game, my lip was so sore. I got ice and just put it on. I've been playing since like 8 o'clock that morning. I wasn't ready. After a while, it was no problem at all. I deliberately did not let the newspaper reporters catch on to this till about 4 games in, because I didn't know whether I was able to keep it up. And if somebody did a story on me and then I dropped out, I couldn't have handled that. But I knew I was going to be able to do it at that point. I got into the running and all that stuff. And then we got a reporter from the News Observer, wrote a real nice article. And my picture was in the paper in a halftime of a game. And that's when it really opened up. The next home game, students would bring their parents. They were already bringing their parents to meet me. But now I would be walking up the Rams Head parking deck into the big parking garage, into the garage. And people would say, there he is, I see him. And I was the only bald-headed guy out there on the field. So you could spot me once I was on the field. It was like, my fame was incredible. And little kids especially just loved it. But it was just the greatest experience in my life. Being a member of the band and having all these friends. I had a few students who were in the band, but I had many more the next 3 years. I would start my classes after that and say, okay, how many of my band buddies have I got here? People with the band with me. And it was just great. But to me, the greatest thrill, when I think about it, when I get goosebumps, was we would warm up in front of Wilson Library. I guess they still do that. And the sousaphones would usually be behind and in front of the drum line. And the drums, of course, are doing their thing, which already gets your blood going. And then we would take off. We would march down Stadium Drive, Rams Head parking lot, and come in the bottom. And when we got into that parking deck and those drums echoing, it was just, everybody who's ever done it knows what that's like. It's just the greatest sound and the greatest feeling. And then to come right out there on the field in Keenan Stadium, look up and see all those people. It was just and do your show. And it was just a great thrill.
Wow. I hope, watching that video, you wish that you were in Dr. Joe's class. I mean, that would be a lecture great to take, wouldn't it? I mean, he is such an interesting guy.
Oh, and so energetic, just so energetic.
So we're now going to watch Dr. Joe perform. One of the things that we've done in our first 4 programs here is take a look at some of the performances that the marching band was able to do in one way, shape, or form during band camp. But now we're going to go back in the Wayback Machine. This is actually, Jeff, when you were an assistant director for the Marching Tar Heels in 1995. And we're going to focus and look back at the pregame from one of the games that year, which was really the rise of Mac Brown in his first tenure as the head coach of the Carolina football team.
Yeah, we thought with the home football season starting this weekend, we thought it'd be appropriate we get everybody juiced up and ready to go with watching a little pregame on Friday night in advance of the football game Saturday at noon. So, yeah, this is from 1995, the Florida State game, actually, is what this video is from. And I got to kind of apologize for the quality because, back in 95, everything was done on VHS tape. And
right, exactly.
Several years ago, we took all of the VHS from, I think we started in 1989, and we've digitized everything now. So it's all, but the quality is just not the same when you go from videotape to digital, but you can still get the gist of the show.
I'll tell you though, as an alumni member, it's been so cool when you guys did that, to be able to go back and watch some of these performances that, like for me, that I was a part of in the Marching Tar Heels. Looking back though, this is going to be kind of cool because so much of pregame has stayed the same, but there have been some changes, like the patriotic melody that was played back then. And my goodness, we even played the visiting team's fight song during the pregame back in that era.
Yeah, it's been very interesting to kind of go through the process because a lot of it's been based on TV. As every game now is televised, the patriotic medley is a good example because back in the day, when there was no TV on every game, you could do the national anthem whenever you kind of wanted to. Right. And now with TV games, they want the national anthem finished before they come on the air. So we found ourselves more and more having to play the national anthem early in pregame. And so it was play the national anthem, and then we would have this big span at the back of it. So for a few years, we did the national anthem, then the patriotic medley, and that didn't make sense. And then with the advent of the video boards, all of a sudden time started coming off the back to save time for the big video production to bring the team off the field. Right. So as the time, when I first got to Carolina, we had from the 20-minute mark to the 3-minute mark on the pregame clock. And now with the marketing and whatnot that has to go after the team leaves the field, we're down to about, if on a good day, we'll get to start at 16 and we need to be done by about 5. And so things have had to leave the pregame sequence, but the traditional stuff, the fight songs, the anthem, the alma mater, that stuff has stayed true. And we've just eliminated all the other stuff out of it. I got to admit, it makes cleaning pregame a little bit easier. Gives us a little more time to dedicate to halftime.
That's right. Well, folks, let's get fired up. We've got our first football game here upcoming. So let's take a look at the pregame show from the Florida State game back in 1995.
dedication and loyalty to this great nation, and as a symbolic reminder of those who have given their lives for our country. Ladies and gentlemen, please let us stand together and honor America with our national anthem, conducted on the south sideline by the marching band director at Florida State University, Patrick Dunnigan.
righty, folks. Thank you once again for being with us for another great edition of the Pride of the ACC. Jeff, I'm telling you, I got nostalgic there watching that pregame. I mean, that is my favorite part personally of being in the band in front of a big Kenan Stadium crowd. And I know that we're looking forward to, you can either think of it like, oh, it's not going to happen this year, but I can't wait till the Marching Tar Heels are able to do that once again here shortly.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, and I find peace knowing that 3/4 of the band has done it, so they know what it feels like. And the new students, they will get to do it. So before this is all over, everyone will know that thrill that you cherish so much. And it is very cool when you hit that first note and the crowd responds. And that's what it's all about.
That is definitely what it is all about. Well, that's going to do it for us today, but we'll see you again next week with another edition of the Pride of the ACC. Have a great week, everybody.